8 p.m. Hello, my name is Jimmy Fon on Think, and tonight we're gonna talk about this brand new concept that we've all heard about, transhumanism. But what exactly is transhumanism? Is human augmentation gonna change your life? Is it good or not? And of course, is it that far away? Some people claim to have the answer to that question. Our feed reporter, Hélène Replay, is with them. Hélène, to you.
Thank you, Jimmy. We are live today in the lab of prosthesist Gordon Freeman and neurologist John Marston. You have honored us with their presence. Hello, gentlemen. Transhumanism is part of you every day. Can you explain life? Can you explain your profession to whose and who do work for?
Well, as a bionic prosthesis designer, my profession consists in creating prostheses for patients who lost members. Most of the time I make bionic hands or legs, but I also perform all the searches concerning technological advances that me and my coworkers from Open Bionics could integrate to our new projects. This profession allies robotic and medicine, and the whole creation process goes through design, construction and programming.
I am a neurologist and I work at Neuralink, which is Elon Musk's new startup. So basically, I'm a doctor in brain diseases, like, for instance, Alzheimer's, Parkinson, speech disorders, or paralysis.
What are you currently working on?
We are working on a brain implant called Neuralink, capable of reading signals from your brain and interpreting them. For instance, when you are walking, your brain always uses the same neural paths, because it is a very repetitive task. So the neural lane will read those signals and associate them with walking. And this means that we can effectively cure people with paralyzed legs or arms, if it is due to nerve damage.
Well, Open Bionics is constantly on the most innovative projects, but in this moment we're working on something new, which is getting closer and closer to this notion of transhumanism. This time we're not making a simple bionic hand, but a bionic hand that you can control with your mind, from your wrist to your fingers. This is why we need the help from the most competent neurologist in the country, to make sure that humanity makes a big step forward.
How does it work?
So, to put it simply, we put the neural lane under the skull, next to the brain, and we attach to the brain hundreds of electrodes to allow the neural lane to read the signals. Then, we put another neural lane in the spine, where the nerve was damaged, to send infos gathered by the neural lane in the brain to the legs, and the patient will be able to walk as if he was never paralyzed.
What outlook does it open for the future?
It's gonna make something different for the future, but this bionic hand controlled by mind is just the beginning, because science and engineering are in constant progress, and we can hope that real soon we'll see technologies that will not only fix but also improve human body.
This is only the beginning. We are currently working on medical applications, but in the future, the technology will be much more flexible. Thanks to the neural lane, we could always be connected to the internet and have direct access to all human knowledge. We may even be able to get rid of our body and let our conscience be a part of the internet. And if every human did that, we would become a hive mind, a superior being, able to resolve every current problem on Earth. Because everybody would be connected, conflicts would be unthinkable, and we could all focus on important things like climate change. Social problems wouldn't even be a thing, because we would all be the same. there would be no more racism, sexism, or discriminations in general. We would effectively become an immortal being, like a god, having all knowledge and being everywhere at once. Death doesn't exist in that future.
Thank you, gentlemen. Jimmy, you're on.
Thank you very much, Alan. But in a more philosophical point of view, we have with us here today the writer and philosopher and author of the book The Way of the Techno-Progressism at Discovery's edition, Konstantin Hopper. Mr. Hopper, hello and welcome.
Well, I must say, first, thank you, and I am very glad to be here. Thank you for receiving me.
At first, can you tell me your definition of the transhumanism?
Well, in the universe thermodynamics, we can find two movements. They are very fundamental. Okay, the extropy and the entropy. Okay, so the entropy is the order. Okay, and the entropy is the disorder. We find these two laws everywhere in the universe. Okay, so with the time passing, the human body will get badder and badder. It won't get better. Whatever you do, and globally, it's the same for all living creatures. But so in the end, there's always death, as you can see.
What about transhumanism?
I'm coming to it. Men, I was saying yes. Men can resist death with traces, for example, traces such as books. This is called Negantropia, the fact to resist death. Okay? So, extropy consists in reversing the hour of time, but not increasing the human being, but in modifying the human being. Okay? Therefore, they are reversing the entropy, which consists just in resisting disorder, but not in getting rid of it. And as we can see, increasing the human being has never make us stop dying. With all the years of evolution, with the Darwinism and everything, we are still dying. We are resisting better, but still dying. Now we are trying to stop dying by modifying the way we resist.
I understand.
Now there are two types of negantropia. For the philosopher Bernard Stiegler, a French philosopher which died recently, the difference between the two types of negantropia is that there's one, it's called the organic negantropia, okay, which we can say that is endosomatic, inside the body. And there is the technological negantropia that is exosomatic, which means outside the body. The difference between those is that one resists from inside the body and the other from the outside the body. Seems quite simple to me. All types of life are endosomatic, but some higher mammals, like men, for example, are also exosomatic. So there are in evolution there are 3 steps. No, there's more. I think there's 4. There's 4 steps in evolution that are very important.
And what are those?
Well, there's of course the first one, which it is about resisting. It's the living which is facing obstacles and is trying to transform to survive these obstacles. So it's the endosomatism. Okay, so Darwinism to be clearer. Okay, so there's the second one, the exosomatism, which is pretty much the same thing, except that we use tools. Okay, it's not the inside of our body that defends itself. It's for instance, you will use a jacket, for instance, and so your body won't have to grow a lot of hair, no, because you have a jacket and you protect yourself with that. Okay, so that is the tool. Okay. So which is for only superior mammals. So yes, there's a third level. Okay. So this one is when the technology called advance goes faster than evolution. As we can see, it's happening right now. It's the how can you say it? It's the exponentiality of the negantropy. It's always going faster and faster the way we defend ourselves. Okay, the way we live right now, it's so much better than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was so much better than 100 years ago. I mean, it's going so fast. The evolution, yes. Okay, so. And this is blocking the morphological transformation, you know. So which means that the Negantropia exosomatical, this one is taking is getting more important than the endosomatical. Okay, so. Because we are scared of death, so we are trying to always survive. I mean, it's that simple. Okay, so then the highest level right now of this way of resisting, this exosomatic way of resisting, this negantropic exosomatic way of resisting, it's what we call the artificial intelligence. Okay, so. Now, there's the fourth step. Okay, so the problem now that we are facing, or we'll soon be facing, that's for sure. I'm sure you have seen this in a lot of movies, but it's not going to be like a Terminator or something. It's that men cannot follow their production, their own production. It's getting smarter than them, faster than them. But that's weird, because technology at the beginning, it was to help humans to evolve them, to help us. We weren't supposed to one day not been able to understand some of our technological advance. Okay, so how to follow this when what we have created is getting more complex than our own brain? How to follow? There's one first way. We can resist to our own technological advance, but that's what they do in the movies, for instance. But that'd be so dumb, because it would mean a regress in something, in what we have achieved. You understand? Okay. So there's the second one. It's what some people like to call the techno-science deconstructive. It's a French term. Okay. And for stopping, for not being dominated, we have to increase ourselves. Okay. We have to deconstruct what we have, what we are. Deconstruct the human to increase the human. That's an extropic principle, and that by modifying the human, and the only way to follow our creation, it's what we call transhumanism.
Okay, now I understand, but I've learned that there is different type of transhumanism. Can you tell me more about that?
Of course I can. Yeah, well, that's a great question. So to answer your question, there's a lot of way of thinking. There's the Libertarian Party, there's the Hedonist Party, there's the Techno-Progressist Party, the Economist Party, and the Transgender Party. For example, it's the same as in politics. Okay, it means the same, but we are talking here about transhumanism. And the different way to produce transhumanism is by the pharmacopoeia, the big pharma and everything. They are doing a bit of the transhumanism. Genetical modification, of course, but that's logical. Prosthetics, like our colleague talked about, and what I was talking about a few moments ago, informational conversion. So the mind, to be exact. There you go.
And what's your opinion about that?
Well, I must say, thank you so much for this question. I think there are two risks. I think there's one, but a lot of people seems to think that there are two. So I'm going to talk about the first risk first. Okay. So the first risk is standardization, which will mean that we will become all the same. Okay, we will be at the same image. It will be the same people, as we can see in movies that talks about cloning, for example. Okay, and they say that they have lost their identity. I'm not okay with that, but they say that. Okay, so it's like with twins. Sometimes you can see two twins and you can't recognize them. They're the same because you never saw them before, and it's difficult for you to see the difference. But when the mother sees them, their friends, their family, or even themselves, they recognize the one and the second in a blinking eye. There's no problem with that. Okay. So second example, maybe easier to understand. When us Americans see a lot of Chinese men that we have never saw before. Okay. We sometimes it's difficult to see the difference between them. It's because there's a lot of them and we've never saw them before, and haven't saw a lot of Asian people before. I mean, it can be anything, Asian, any kind of Asian, but for them, Asian, it's difficult for them to recognize American. It's the same, and what I mean is that between themselves, and if you stay with them for at least a week with any of them, you will be able to understand them so easily. So the problem is not there. The problem is that even if people looks a bit the same, I mean, we're humans, we have the same legs, we all have hairs, almost all of us, we are okay, but and we will always find differences. So if we are exactly the same for someone of the 21st century, in the future with transhumanism, we will be able to make the difference. We will be able to see things that people right now cannot see. But if we all look the same, okay, we will be different. Anyway, we will find a difference, because there's always a small difference, and the more and more you look the same, it's like with animals. You can't make the difference between two crocodiles or two snails or something like that. But between them, they see the difference. Okay, it will be the same thing. Now, there's a second problem with which I am in accord. It's actually the opposite, for being precise. It's a morphological stall, okay? Which would mean that we cannot exist in a common mythology if we are too much different, which would, of course, pose an erotic problem. I mean, you can't be attracted to something. It's not even someone. It's something that doesn't look like you in any way, because if you cannot, because human. They have to be with people that looks minimum like them, okay, and because we can no longer compare ourselves to others, because we can't compare ourselves to others if others are so different. Because if someone does, for example, a triple backflip, if a human does that, you will be, wow, it's incredible. But if an animal that is able to do that normally, does that, you would just say no. It's not. You're not incredible. You're just who you are. And it's normal for you. And at the moment you become like that, the human race doesn't exist anymore, because a race is a species. It needs a lot of individuals that looks the same. We would create a lot of other species, but humans would not exist anymore. So it wouldn't be even worth it to exist as a new human anymore, because humans are always comparing themselves. They always want to show themselves. It's the principle of humans. So it would be the end of the human species at the beginning. If humans decide to become a fly, and the other humans decide to become a fish, for example, I mean, they won't want to become a fly, but to be able to fly, I mean, so become a fly or a bird or anything, they would be so different that they would stop being together at all. They would get so far that human would disappear. And I think I don't see that as a good thing. But I'm sure we can do something about it with something like limitation, for example. Okay, so I know what I just said is very sad, and so now to finish my what I think of transhumanism, I think I'm gonna talk about something that I like a lot more, something that would please everyone. So if we have transhumanism, of course, it would mean that we have defeated death. Okay, so we would be immortal. We would have all the time in the world in front of us. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it? And we could be everywhere. Why could we be everywhere? It's the same as a prosthetic. A prosthetic is connected to the nerve, okay? But when you see a car for children, you know, the one they play with, the small one, before they had cables to move, connected to the, okay? But right now they don't. They use Bluetooth, okay? And they use Bluetooth. So it would be the same in the human body. Right now we're using cables to connect prosthetics. But maybe in the future we will have Bluetooth, which will mean that we could be anywhere in the world at the same time. It would mean that we would see everything. We would have we would be all connected one to another, and almost, I say almost, we will be omniscient. And that way, of course, we could advance, but we could achieve and discover things that it's not even imaginable right now. And all of this could be a pretext to the human being ultimate project, the one they are doing right now with Earth, and they are beginning to doing in space, the transformation of the place they live in. So that would be the transformation of the universe to their images. And I think that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oppo, for that little talking. It's time for us to go now, and I tell you that one more time. Think more.